Angelique, talk about discipline and academic outcomes and performance.
Well, I think that discipline, first off, does begin at home. Because if you don't really have that discipline at home, then if you go outside to the real world, you wouldn't have any manners, or you wouldn't know how to act, basically. So definitely do think it starts at home. In the classroom, discipline is needed because sometimes the class can get out of hand and some students just don't know how to behave. I think that talking about high school in particular, I think that what was I about to say? The discipline, since we're more mature in high school, well, some of us are more mature in high school. I feel that some verbal warning is needed, is necessary, but then again, it can be taken out of hand, and you might just have to send them off to detention. I haven't even been in detention in high school, so I'm not sure, like.
Angelique, we're going to take one of your features of high school, which is Facebook, and go there because we're getting a lot of activity on Facebook around this very issue. So let's see what happens with the Facebook crowd right now.
Okay, we have, I'm glad to say, viewing parties at Invest in PUSD Kids and Penn, watching us from Perry's Joint. We have Victory Bible Church watching us day one with 105 students participating. Yeah. We've got the Flintridge Foundation, Blair IB, Apple, Jackson Elementary School, PUSD employees in the boardroom, and we've got Latino Heritage hosting a viewing party at home too. Questions have been pouring in on Facebook, Twitter, and text and email. So the first question we're going to go to is from Kristy at day one, where 105 students are watching us. Their question is, what's being done to improve college counseling on campuses?
Mr. Diaz, could you answer that question, please?
Actually, and fortunately, that through the budget reductions, we were able to call back all of the counselors who had received layoff notices. So the first thing I think that was done was to retain the amount of service that we're providing kids as far as college counseling and guidance. The second thing that's going on is we actually created a position with some grant money, and we hired a counselor for that position. And their role and responsibility is to work with counselors and with site administrators to create a focus on college and career counseling throughout the district. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to move our current counseling services to what we call a department where, where counselors are actively engaged in helping kids plan for their futures. And so part of that is college and career counseling. So we have a plan. We're working with the counselors. They're going to have input into this. Our site administrators will have input, but we'll have a definite plan to create a more keen focus on planning for college and college information and career information.
Great, thank you. Let's get another, do we have a tweet? While we're checking the tweet, we're going to get ready for a transition to our next subject area because we want to keep things moving, and we'll patch in where we can with some follow-ups along the way. There's a tweet.
We have another question, this time from email, from Victor and the Flintridge Center viewing party, asking, what is the approach to create an engaging curriculum in order to inspire greater student participation and ultimately achievement?
So Tina, you started us a bit on that. Can you add to clarify for the answer that would be a feeder to that question, and then let's hear from...
Well, I think the key point is engagement with the students. I have standards that I'm required to teach by the state of California, but it is my professionalism, it is my craft to make those standards interesting to students, and a piece of that is having them participate in the development of the curriculum in the classroom. There's a lot of leeway in what I'm able to do in my room in order to help the children learn in kindergarten, learn how to read, write, basic science foundations, social sciences, and all of those. But even in the middle school and in the high school, there is a lot of engagement that can happen. And I think that as professionals, we feel the weight of this responsibility, and it's very difficult sometimes to open up and say, what is it that you want? And pull in that, and then have to craft something from that. But I think that if we reach out to our peers and form communities, professional communities together, across campuses, so high schools working together as departmental teams, and middle schools working together, and elementary schools working together, we can then benefit from the expertise of each other and pull the student engagement in as well.
Diaz, you want to add to that, please?
Yeah, just that's a great answer, but one of the specific things that we're also doing, not but, also, is that, you know, it's very hard for kids to become motivated about their content area unless it ties into their interest, into their skills, and into their future aspirations. And so we just started talking about college counseling, college and career counseling, making sure that kids are actively engaged in goal setting and establishing goals for themselves, and then being able to tie in those goals to classroom instruction. The second part that we're focusing in on at the secondary level is to make the instruction much more relevant by incorporating more career and technical programs into the regular instructional day. And so a good example of this is the robotics program. And so the robotics program that is being rolled out at our middle schools is a good example of a program that's highly engaging for kids, connects with their future aspirations and their goals and their skills, and is very, very rigorous because they're learning very high-level math. And so to create those many opportunities where it's much more engaging and relevant to the kids, and bring in those experiences into the classroom on a regular basis, along with what teachers do on a daily basis as far as lesson design, I think is really, really the key.
Very good. We are going to move to our next topic area. What we heard today is related to the motivation of students to learn, is the relational piece, the rigor in terms of content preparation, and then the resources necessary to support them with counseling and other supports to keep them engaged in the learning and advancing forward and knowing that they can. We're going to come back to that as we wrap, but right now we want to talk about a hot issue, and it's living on a budget.